Welcome back. I'm Bethany, and we are very excited because we're doing another one of our online Give-A-Thons today for the Disciples Church Extension Fund Real Faith Building Disaster Fund. 100% of your contributions are going to go to this fund, and today's the day to make a gift because we have a generous donor who has offered to match every donation and pledge we receive today, dollar to dollar, up to $5,000. Let me tell you a little bit about Real Faith Christian Church and the historic partnership that we're celebrating today.
Clarksdale, Mississippi felt the recession harder than most. At its height, unemployment surged to more than 60%, and nearly half of the community's residents lived below the poverty line. Nestled in a neighborhood of boarded-up businesses and abandoned homes sat an unsafe, partially finished church building. Before the money ran out, the contractor left, and the pastor moved on, the congregation had been leaders in the community. But due to circumstances beyond the congregation's control, their building and their hopes sat broken for nearly 7 years. It may not have been a hurricane or great flood, but disaster had struck Real Faith Christian Church. In 2012, the congregation called a young, energetic pastor from Memphis, Tennessee. Reverend Zedrick Clayton knew that his congregation needed healing and reconciliation after so many years of disappointment and pain surrounding their unfinished building. So he set to work to help Real Faith Christian Church remember that their ministry was so much more than simply a building. They turned their eyes away from their unfinished building and looked out. They looked out into their hurting community and decided to walk out in faith to serve. They began offering after-school tutoring and computer programming classes for local residents. They started handing out backpacks filled with school supplies to hundreds of children returning to a new school year. Their women's ministries began to thrive, and folks started showing up to worship on Sunday mornings. Finally, their smaller space was no longer enough space, so they reached out to see if there were a way that their earlier building plan could actually happen. In 2014, Disciples Church Extension Fund, in partnership with Disciples Home Missions, began imagining how this partially constructed building might be finished. Disciples volunteering started coordinating volunteer efforts to build an adequate space for the ministry. DCEF, DHM, Hope Partnership, Disciples Women, National Convocation, Week of Compassion, Reconciliation Ministry, the Great River Region, and many, many local congregations sent volunteers and grants to Clarksdale, Mississippi, and Real Faith Christian Church. On Easter Sunday this year, they finally opened the doors to their building that had been sitting unfinished for 7 years. Real Faith Christian Church has worked hard on its own capital campaign to raise funds for the furniture and parking lot. Although volunteers did the bulk of the work, there were still costs incurred for materials, permits, and specialized labor needed to complete the building properly and safely. Disciples Church Extension Fund celebrates the completion of the building itself, and now we are embarking on our final fundraising campaign to meet the remaining financial obligations of this remarkable building project. 100% of your contribution today will go to the Real Faith Building Disaster Fund. Until midnight, each donation or pledge made will be matched by a generous donor up to $5,000. Today is the day to make your gift go twice as far. This is a story of resurrection and rebirth, of new hope and opportunity, of service and mission. This is a story of stepping out in faith and trusting the Spirit of God to move freely for reconciliation. On behalf of Disciples Church Extension Fund and all those who have been part of this spectacular and historic denomination-wide partnership, thank you.